Aku percaya akan Roh Kudus, Gereja Kristus yang kudus, persekutuan para kudus, pengampunan dosa, kebangkitan badan, kehidupan yang kekal.
But I begin by letting the audience know a little bit of a reminder about what brought you into the Catholic Church.
I was raised as a Pentecostal, and for 59 years I was a Pentecostal. For about 25 of those 59 years, I served as a pastor of 2 parishes. One was the oldest Pentecostal church in the state of Michigan, and the second one was the one I founded, Maranatha Christian Church, and I pastored that for about 18 years. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't looking for truth. I felt that I had truth. I wasn't looking for the Catholic Church. I wasn't looking for anything but retirement, because I served for many years. But it was through a Bible study that I had challenged my people to be a part of, in which we would go back in history and look at the early Christian church, how it worshiped. And when we went back into history, there were the church fathers. And in reading the church fathers, slowly, very slowly, my eyes began to come open as to what happened to the church, that it didn't fall off the edge of the earth after the last apostle died, that it didn't apostatize from the teaching of the apostles, but that it grew, and that it grew in the understanding of itself and understanding of its message and understanding of its mission in the earth. And discovering that, the journey began. 2 years later, I came into the church with 54 of my members.
See, that still always amazes me. The audience, I work with the Coming Home Network International. The reason we exist is to help clergy on their journey into the church because of the issues that arise through the conversion of a clergyman. You've got marriage, you've got kids, you've got connections, you've got vocations and all that. But rarely do you see clergy able to bring with them their congregation or even parts of it. Right now we're seeing the Anglicans opening the door for that for the Anglicans, but even aren't too many of those really coming, and we'll see that happen. But talk a bit about that, in the sense that how hard it is when you're studying early church fathers, you're reading the stuff, the people in the pew who have a lot of their own formation, stuff, the baggage they bring with them, they don't always get to read the books. They don't always see in the stuff. That's why it's often hard for the clergyman that's going through the journey to really convey that to his congregation, to his wife, to his kids.
It was difficult, but I realized that just to understand these truths, as I'd come to understand them, and to understand the linkage of the church with the church fathers and the subsequent development of the church, even though I understood that, my people needed to hear that, even though they chose not to follow me or not to agree with me. And so I asked their permission. Can I share with you what I've learned? And they gave me permission. So for about 6 months, I taught about the church. I taught about the development of history. I taught about Mary. I taught about papal authority. I taught about liturgy. I taught about Mary. I taught about purgatory. I taught about Mary. Mary was a big problem to us.
Oh, sure. Of course. Of course. You've been a Catholic for 9 years and deacon. And I know we talk about a few things on the program, so there'll be some questions that people can ask. I'll say, go get the archive. But one thing I've noticed is that, experience it myself with other clergy converts also, after you've been in the church for a while, you're still starting to discover what it means to be Catholic.
It takes time. You cannot become a Catholic in 8 months. As good as RCA is, you can't really comprehend the depth of the faith in 8 months. It takes years of being familiar with, of exercising. What we take by faith when we first come in, okay, if the church teaches it, I believe it. Although I don't really understand it, but I believe it. In time, your eyes begin to become adjusted to the teachings of the church, and they become even more beautiful. So many people have asked me, since the priestly scandals have broken out in the last few years, are you sorry you did what you did? I said, no. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because now I'm growing. Now I understand. It's just phenomenal how much I'm understanding and growing in faith and in the love of Jesus and the love of his church and the love of the people. I am just blown away by the universality of the church. Its diversity, being able to travel around the world and see Catholicism in Africa, Catholicism in Australia, Catholicism in the islands, Catholicism in America, Catholicism in Canada. It's just a great privilege to see how vast the church is.
You mentioned Africa.
Yes.
You've been there
4 times.
Because all we hear about is it's just exploding there.
I just have to tell you this, and I'll try to say it as succinctly as possible. I was invited by Archbishop Cyprian to come to Martyrs' Day in Uganda. I think it was about 2 years ago, June 3rd. And he asked me to come and to share in giving my story to well over 1 million people in attendance. People came from miles away, walking, some 30, some 40, some 100 miles, walking. When they got there, there was no place to house them because there were about 1 million of them. So they sat outside in the open air. And that night, there were just torrential rains that just poured down all on the people. They were soaking wet. There was no place to go but just to sit there in the one piece of ground. And do you know what they did, Marcus? They sang. All night long you hear them singing, praising God. They really, genuinely love the Lord. And I found out something. If you want to see the church in its greatest wealth, come to America, because God has blessed us. We're a prosperous nation. If you want to see the church in its orthodoxy, go to Rome. If you want to see the joy of worship, you go to Africa. There they dance and they sing and they praise God and they love their church. They love the Holy Father. They love the Blessed Mother. They love everything about the church. And there are well over 100 million Africans who are Catholic and growing.